Hello, all you wonderful beings out there, and welcome to the stream. I am Rdyjin, currently as Paint the African Wild Dog, and we are doing some Scar Dev this evening, where we've also got we've got Tal here.
Yes. Hi.
For the first time in 84 years.
It's been 84 years. Unfortunately, I've been fairly busy on Thursdays, just, you know, with family shit and all like, so. Also, I know swear jar, I just don't care. Hey, look, you made the rule, like, look, you gotta understand. The moment you make the punishment a fine, it's just a cost for doing it. Like, that, it's the price for being able to swear. Like,
truly, this is the dankest dungeon.
I mean, to be fair, at least at this point in my YouTube journey, I do make more money off of the $5 than I do off of ad rev.
Yeah, I figured. But also, the moment you make it a fine, it only becomes the cost of doing it. It just costs $5. It's not actually that much of a punishment.
You know, fair. But I do win, so I'm okay with this. Also, we have Plastic Duck Simulator. Because of course we have to have that going. Quack. We're going back to the original one this time. All the ducks. Quack. Alright, so, yeah, like I said earlier, we did add some new conditions. I wanted to get some more positive conditions to actually make the remove condition trait actually worthwhile.
I can dance on the head of a pin as well.
Hey Ren, you have been given an AMP and V pack through stream loops by Jimond_. Good luck.
Am I ever going to be able to just work? But I also wanted some more positive options for people to add instead of everything just being, you know, negative this, negative that.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, we have a choo-choo train. Neat. But yeah. So, amped, you know, it grants the afflicted an additional standard action per turn. Then we have insulated. It blocks the next incoming condition on the target. I did update the wording of protected, where it will block the next incoming damage.
Alright. I know we meant to do that, like, forever ago.
Yeah. And I know that insulated is something that has actually been requested a little bit, or something similar to it. Because we've got, you know, we got options for blocking damage, sure, but nothing for just blocking things like, well, the specific example that comes to mind is the one that prompted this in particular, Veins Chains.
Yep. I mean, hey, look, that's why I made a character that did a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Said I see you on this document. Come get a voice.
Dude, for you don't know if he's listening. But yeah, if you were here, come over here.
Well, yeah, I know. Hey, no, he is listening. I see him in the chat.
I see you there, Seda. You could have just protected. You could have just lied like a dog, and I know you don't mind being a dog, because TF.
Oh no! The ducky escaped!
Our modest fellowship expands. Praise the sub.
Gaben, thank you so much for that gift sub. But yeah. So I added those. Ow! But yeah, I added those. And I wasn't certain about the cost for them. Insulated was pretty, you know, it's on par with protected, so I figured that was a good cost for it. Amped feels pretty powerful, but it is also easily removed with that remove condition thing. So I wasn't certain on that one how much that condition would cost to add.
Well, it's the literal equivalent of protected. And it isn't even only just useful against soul builds because, you know, it...
No. I'm talking about amped.
Oh, amped.
The one that gives an extra standard action per turn.
Oh. So, just for the next turn, though, right?
It would last as long as the condition is on them.
Oh. Oh, okay. Huh.
Kind of like, it's a scene condition. Just like protected lasts until either the scene is over or that, you know, they take damage. Or would
Well, I
take
thought
damage.
that's why amped would basically work until they use the action.
I mean, we could make it like that.
Well, because, you know, you could stack up to 3 of these and have a 5-action turn.
True.
Which then would consume them, but, like, you know, because it's a condition, it has up to 3 stages, so you could get up to 3 of them, and then you could have a 5 main action turn with a bonus action. So, you know, you could prepare pretty hard and then proceed to instant Macarena of death everything.
No, that's fair. We could make it a situation where it does only last until they... And considering how easy it would be to apply, yeah, it would probably be better to make it that way. Because like in other tabletop games that have haste, which is the equivalent there, you know, those ones have other things to limit it, like spell slots. We don't have those.
Yep. So I think it's better if it's like a stack up and detonate, effectively. Especially considering it's basically a tempo change thing. Where, like, let's say originally you're giving up an action now to get an action later. So, you know, that's already fucking with the thing, but, like, you know, let's say you get a thing where it's like, oh, hey, I give myself two stacks of amped. And, then, you know, on your next turn, you would have 2 stacks of amped. You use 1 stack to then gain 2 stacks of amped. And then now you're at 3 stacks, and you still have 2 actions on that turn. So it's basically you can wish for more wishes if you get more than 1 stack of amped at a time. So we also might want to make it so that way you can only apply 1 stack of amped at a time. Because otherwise you're wishing for more wishes.
I'm okay with them, you know, buying the 2 stage for it. I would say they can stack up to 3.
Well, they could stack up to 3. I'm saying we shouldn't allow them to apply more than 1 stack at a time.
I definitely understand where you're coming from on that, but we don't have anything else that has that kind of limitation. Which is the only reason why I'm hesitating to agree with you there. Because I definitely see where you're coming from with wanting... where... Oh!
Otherwise...
Okay, Rdyjin, why is it not showing on screen? Oh, it should have been. Okay, there we go. Let me switch over to this screen then. Whoosh! And now we have Ot.
Nice.
Hi, Rdyjin.
But the reason that I'm saying that is because we're balancing a lot of things around the fact that, you know, you have 2 actions a turn. And if you have something that gives 2 stacks of amped, what it'll do is your first turn that you use it will be a 1-action turn. And everything after that will, at minimum, be 3 actions for the entire rest of the time. No problem. And in case you want to detonate it, you can have a 4-action turn, and then your next turn is just a 1-action turn to reapply it. You know? So the reason that I'm saying is because if we let them gain multiple stacks of it at a time, like with 1 action, then you're wishing for more wishes.
Yeah, but I am still leaning heavily towards the idea of just keeping it simple and consistent. You know, everything else can have that 2-stage in one go. Why don't we allow that one? You know?
Well, I mean, teleport doesn't have stages, and it's a self-implied positive condition.
It's not actually under conditions.
Oh, okay. Well, it was for a while, so... I know it... I think it still is on the move creation sheet thing. It is. It's still under conditions there.
Where?
Move creation proposal.
So the move creation proposal is basically everything's all over the place. That was actually a frequent complaint that I had.
Yeah, it was.
I never really considered teleport to be a condition.
Well, when we originally added it and were deciding how it worked, you said to throw it under conditions. Also, make sure you're on the whip sheet instead of the dev sheet. The dev sheet hasn't been touched in fucking forever.
Oh.
The whip sheet's a lot better than the dev. The whip sheet is where I basically went, okay, here, let's make this a little bit more readable.
I think myself and everybody else was using the dev sheet.
The whip sheet's first.
Well, yeah, but it defaults to the dev sheet.
Not anymore, it doesn't. I changed that a while ago.
Well, I got some work for you to do real quick. Go through and make sure all the XP costs are correct. Because I was going off the dev sheet.
Okay, well, the whip sheet is where basically I was going. Remember a while ago, like, on the dev sheet, where I went and, like, you know, we were going over all of the XP costs together and deciding what was good and what was bad? Those got directly moved over to the whip sheet, and then it's been updated there ever since, instead of the dev sheet. Also, that's why I intentionally crossed off a lot of the stuff on the dev sheet. Like, if you look through it, it has a bunch of strike through.
The dev sheet cross through on stuff was me crossing it out.
Oh, you did? Okay, cool.
Yeah, as I was going through them, I was crossing them out to make sure that I didn't miss anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I thought that I did that a while ago.
No.
Oh no, I was crossing stuff out on propose. That's why.
Yeah.
I thought
I was doing it in the final.
Yeah, but yeah, no. Under the whip sheet, that's been the thing for like the actually updating stuff and the wording.
Okay. This is not happening with only one monitor.
Yeah, but that's on an aside. But yeah, that is also why I think on my initial thing on ScarDev when I pinged everyone about it, I specifically said to use the dev sheet at the bottom, use the whip sheet at the bottom and not the dev sheet.
Oh, this is a big problem. There is no way I can work on... I can update this with only one monitor. I need to have them side by side to compare and stuff.
I'll take care of that.
Oh, you'll get that for me?
I have 2 monitors.
Fair, thank you. Yeah, I just need to make sure that everything on the whip is on the main document now. And unfortunately, with the way Google Docs is set up, trying to have 2 of these side by side is a nightmare.
You know things tipped $10. Screw MSI.
Thank you, I know. For those that didn't hear, I did at least get them to pay for the shipping.
Nice.
Yeah, they were refusing it, and then when I called in today, they were like, yeah, you're going to need to pay the shipping to get it to us. And I'm like, no. I paid $400 a piece for these freaking monitors, and they've already failed. It's been about 2 months. You're paying the shipping. If you don't want to pay the shipping, don't put out defective products. Plain and simple. It's already bad enough I'm going to have to wait about a month of, you know, with it going back and forth between me and them.
Yeah. But, yeah, that might be why a bunch of people were like, this is so hard to read. If they, weren't using the whip sheet.
The dev one, you mean?
No, if they weren't using the whip sheet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if they were using the dev sheet, yeah, no, that would do it. That dev sheet was a hot mess, and I threw it together like that, literally just to be like, okay, everything is here.
I think, Seda, I think you were the one that was saying that you couldn't find where things are because they weren't arranged in any form of category or anything.
Though actually, I was also working off of the whip sheet for that one, but the problem is that like even things like range were still bundled together with like even like the accuracy stuff in the work in progress version. At least when I was looking at it. So
yeah, that's because it was general move effects, stuff that you don't have to purchase additional things on top of for. Because conditions and stat changes were separated out because you have to specifically buy a different thing to get any of that onto the move.
And now I've gone and adjusted things for more for where their categories are.
Yeah, and then but this was like original.
Yeah.
Yeah, and where you've moved it towards was my general feedback is that, you know, hey, if I'm looking at the move block, I should be able to basically more or less like look at those sections of the move block in order and see the appropriate table there, as opposed to like jumping back and forth or, well, these two are combined together, that kind of stuff.
Alright. If there are any discrepancies on cost data, do let me know. But for now, just add new lines for anything that I might have missed, please. The other thing that I was looking at, I want to remove the temp stat change. I don't feel it's really useful. It doesn't feel like it fills a purpose that really is needed.
Mostly we included that because, like, overwhelmingly on the results thing, people did want to see temporary changes instead of only permanent.
I think if I recall, it was more that they just wanted more negatives, period, and so that's what we came up with. At least that's how I recall that going.
I remember that I specifically did... give me a second. Forms... There was one for there should be more available restrictions / drawbacks for my moves to get discounts, and then the question after that was move creation should include temporary negatives for a smaller discount, e.g. -1 evasion for a single turn, instead of it being a constant stat change.
And there was only one saying that?
No. Well, there was one for, like, the temporary negatives. One question for that. For the responses, there were 5 overwhelmingly agree, 4 agree, 3 neutral, 1 against, and 1 strongly against. So it was an overwhelmingly popular, you know, thing that people wanted to see. I'm not saying that as justification for us keeping it right now. I'm just pointing out that this was a part of our original decision making, so we should probably remember that.
Fair, fair.
I know that...
Go ahead.
I know that I've done some things with this system that are actually, like, really creative. One of those is a move called Ambuscade, where what it does is it gives +1 scene initiative and -3 temporary initiative. So the use of this is actually to double turn someone if they're not paying attention. But it also allows getting double turned, you know, first. So what that would do is, you know, it would give you +10 and then -30. Which, you know, are separate, but, you know. And then what they do is, you know, let's say you're just below someone on initiative. And you do this. And you go after them. Then your next turn, you still go after them. And you can attack them. And then on the new round, you would then go before them. So, before they could reset their hit stun. So, like, there are uses for that. I have another one where it's, I used it this session on Shade, which is Gambit. Which gives him +1 crit chance on the scene, but gives him temporary -3 accuracy dice and -1 evasion. So what he does is basically, you know, a Gambit to get into an advantageous position, but temporarily he is more vulnerable. So, like, I do know that there are uses for this kind of stuff. It's just if people are wanting to actually play with it and try and think up, like, a bunch of things related to that.
Okay, I can see the use of it. Though, this does bring up the one stage... Oh no, how did that ducky get out?
If you're talking about one stage only having permanent, it's because specifically there would never be a reason to have a -1 permanent, because it was... the first thing would be free. So people would always choose -1 temporary negative instead of it being, you know, -1 temporary permanent. Or -1 for the scene. It's, like, permanently. Like, people would always choose on the negatives, because when you're doing the negatives, it would cost the same for the initial one.
Okay.
So that's why we had that originally, and then we got rid of it. Because of that specific reason. If we want to re-add it, we need to come up with a way to, you know, balance that, maybe going...
I'd rather keep it permanent, you know, the first stage is for the scene change.
Yeah. Basically, it's kind of a situation where you start at 1 permanent, and then it's like 2 separate upgrade trees, where you could either go temporary cheaper, or you could go permanent more expensive. but it starts as a basic +1 force.
Alright, so... this here, that there. Otherwise, you like how I've been setting up the descriptions for the move traits?
In which section?
Just
in the
all of them.
actual document, or in
The move trait explanation on the main document.
Okay, because there's also the little explanations a little bit on a couple things on the sheet, but yeah.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, after Sada's done going through and making sure I've got everything, the move creation proposal will be gone. Oh, scene effects or weather effects or such like that, I have left out for now, until we actually firm up rules on those, Sada. I just moved over to move creation and saw scene effects intensity 1 and was like, oh, right, that is one thing I specifically left out for now.
Alright, just real quick, I'm gonna center all of these because, holy shit, it's annoying having it be top aligned.
Center, what? Who?
On the general traits thing, you see how dynamic move is now in the middle? It was all the way on top. And it was annoying.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
So like
I want...
down here where it's like increased save DC, see how it's like that?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. I didn't realize that's something you could actually do in Google Docs. Yeah. I was trying to find
No, I have it on the I did it all over the place on the QRD. What you do is you just highlight everything, like, you know, just the table. You go into table options in the top right, open up the cell table properties, and cell vertical alignment middle.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know.
Yep. So yeah, that's how I've, like in the QRD, had everything nice and center aligned.
Hey, Jester. Are you distracted by ducks too, Rdyjin? I just glanced over to look at the art because I can't normally watch it right now.
God damn it, you guys stop getting distracted by ducks.
Quack.
Talderius, what are we gonna do?
I don't know. Also, for the N column, for negatives.
Yes.
I do know that, what was it? Insulated on, I guess, the thing is that the negative column says that it is there if it can be applied as a negative. However, there are ones that are already dedicated negatives but don't have the check mark. So I'm a tiny bit confused on if it's like, you know.
Well, it does say that it can be applied as a negative instead with the negative version of the XP column and effect.
Yeah, it's just...
I'll put in a note that there are some that are purely negative with a different cost, thus they have their own field.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so we're doing priority lists.
1 sec, let me type this.
Yeah.
Alright, so that is in there now. Priorities, yes. I was going through this, and something that I saw a couple of times come up, not very often, but here and there, was debates about the order of operations for various traits.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the main thing that prompted this was the remove condition trait. It doesn't make much sense for you to hit somebody that has protected, do damage, and then remove the protected status.
Yeah, I remember bringing that up.
Yeah. So that's why we went with the priorities, and I think I did a decent job setting them up in priorities.
Yeah, I'll have to double check to make sure there's no wonky priorities. One thing I noticed, it says by default all moves are considered melee without one of the range options below. I know that this slips up every once and again, but I am still very much so in favor of us calling it engaged range instead of melee, because melee is a skill that has a specific use and is not used with moves. Range move traits. It says all moves are considered melee, which might be confusing to people because moves use brawl.
Okay.
It's non-ranged.
I
So I've been telling people to say put engaged.
I think the better option here would be to rename the skill. It is a more drastic change, but I feel that overall, most people going in from video games and tabletop and such, they're going to know the person next to them is in melee range. And that's just a industry standard definition for, you know, their melee range. I definitely understand where you're coming from with the confusion there. So I think maybe renaming the melee skill to something else would probably be the better option.
Okay, well, that's fine. I'm just more like, we can't have the same word used twice for two different things.
Okay, well, I put out what I suggest.
What do you think, Seda?
I need to actually just like go back and like look at the other use of melee. Because I'll be honest, my brain jumped to the whole like melee brawl thing.
So,
okay, yeah, so
right now we have a skill called melee, and that skill is for using melee weapons. And so that's what we're kind of... The two uses for it are melee as in the range and melee as in the skill.
yeah, so I've been pushing for people to put down things like engaged range instead of melee range. Because that'll also, you know...
Tie into like, you know, attacks of opportunity. If you're within engaged range, then...
Yeah. So, like, that's what I've been pushing for, just to, like, give it a different name. So that way people don't write down melee on the range and think they'll be using their melee skill, because melee is for weapon usage, brawl is for move usage. As like, you know, it goes more in depth, but, like, that's the... So, the thing is that we're calling it melee moves, but moves don't use the skill melee.
Yeah, so
Actually,
Go ahead.
as a counterpoint, what if we were to borrow a terminology from like D&D, like use the word martial as opposed to melee.
I like martial.
Like if you're using a weapon, that's more of a martial combat, not necessarily exclusively melee.
So I understand what you're saying. However, martial just means related to war, and so that would also encompass marksman, because martial also would relate to the use of bows or ranged weaponry.
Yep.
But those are two different skills that we have.
Oh, yeah, no, very, very, very fair. I'm actually kind of wondering if the melee skill is relation to, melee weapons, if it might be worth warranting a look at that term, because when I think melee initially, I think like this is, melee combat, both hands-on and with weapons.
Oh yeah, that
distinction might be better made with the weapon, or with the weapon skill itself.
yeah, that's what we're talking about doing, or that's what I was suggesting doing, instead of reinventing the wheel of changing, melee range to be engage range. We just changed the skill from melee to something else. We're just trying to figure out what to change it to, and that's what we wanted your opinion on, which way to go. But, well, you just said which way to go, so... Now we just gotta figure out a new term. The thing that I'm trying to think of
is, if we are going to be renaming it, how are we going to rename it without it breaking a bunch of things? And, also being, a new different problem by using a bad word for it.
I definitely want to avoid using a bad word for it. I don't think it's really going to break things. There will be confusion for a bit from people, I think. But then again, a lot of people don't even use weapons anyways so far. So it's a toss-up on whether it'll even have that much of a rough...
I'm talking about in the document, kind of, problems.
Oh. That's
where
something...
we have a... Yeah.
We'll need to go through, and I will probably just do a search for melee and look at the context, and it'll be a rather drawn-out process, but I don't think it's that big a deal.
The only other word that I feel like... I'm, looking at the source right now. I feel like the only other word that I could see that could be interesting to use would be skirmish. But that would probably
skirmish
be more...
applies range.
Yeah.
Maybe not, in terms of the actual word itself, but in terms of, the community thing.
Yeah.
The connotation instead of the denotation. The denotation, skirmish, does not imply range, but the connotation is very much range for skirmishers.
Oh yeah, or basically the area of skirmish as opposed to being within, in a melee skirmish range.
I personally kind of disagree. I can see what you mean by a skirmisher, but I always have understood skirmish to be, melee combatants. It's a more larger scale than just 1v1, but... Well, yes, Ido, but compared to the number of combat scenes that we've had and such, it's still not... And the number of players overall that we have. There's you, Spectre, Squirrel, and kind of Pyroclast. At least that I'm aware of for people that actually use weapons. Well, I guess Shade technically uses chairs, but that's a different thing altogether.
Yeah. He uses them as improvised, even though he has the ability to actually utilize chairs. But also skirmish does not actually require that it be more than one person, but the connotation is,
Yeah, the skirmish almost describes an entire battle and the range in which that battle occurs as opposed to a single...
A skirmish actually means a period of unplanned fighting. In terms of the actual, like, definition of it. But, yeah. So I don't think that skirmish, as, like, a skill name, actually conveys that this is for use of weapons in melee combat.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I was thinking the word skirmish, I was thinking more of the, as opposed to renaming the melee skill, you rename what it means to be in, essentially melee range.
Well, that's what I was doing with engaged. That was my suggestion of pushing for it being called engaged range.
I'm gonna put my foot down on this. We should avoid trying to rework the wheel here. Everybody knows what melee range is. And so we should be looking at renaming the skill itself as opposed to trying to change melee ranges engage or reach or skirmish or etc. etc. We should avoid that.
Well, if what would be the issue of renaming the melee skill to a weapon skill or a melee weapon skill? Just call it melee weapons.
Well, because if it's called melee weapons, then it still has the problem of being it's using the word melee in it, and so that'll still be confusing. Also, we are intentionally, at least we have been, intentionally avoiding using two-word skill names.
Yeah, otherwise I would have gone the route of close weapons and ranged weapons, or close combat and ranged combat. But speaking of, we also should try and find another option for the ranged move skill.
Yeah, that's another thing that I've been wanting to change, but
I think I still have it in the document that the name is temporary. And do I still have that in here? Skills. Okay, no, I do not still have it in here, but for a long time I had range is just a filler until the human body develops a way to attack at range naturally. Because, you know, we've got all of these terms for how we can fight somebody naturally, you know, punch, kick, brawl, etc., etc. We don't have anything for a natural ranged attack. Because those don't exist.
yeah.
Outside of more specific things like spit or shoot or such.
But also shoot doesn't work because that would, you know.
And unfortunately, renaming it to just something like weapons kind of wraps the whole ranged weapons in there too.
Yeah. I think the marksman skill is great. The brawl skill is great. It's just the melee and range skills that are not. God, I wish I had another monitor. You guys have no idea how torturous this is. Well, maybe you do, but still. Thankfully, Ren's helping me with that next week. Hey there, Brian. Hope you're doing well. Alright, let's consult the thesaurus. We will rename it to Tussle.
Hustle.
We shall have tussles.
We shall engage in fisticuffs.
Quite the gentlemanly disagreement. Let's have our little tussle, and then I'll go. We'll go have a cup of tea with some scones.
Yes, yes. And don't forget the honey for the scones, yes?
What about Snuggles, says Gimmon?
But yeah, some hardcore snuggles.
Oh, no, no, no. You see, those would be a scuffle.
Yeah, this is. I know this is why we went with this in the first place, was just because we didn't really have good words for this.
I think we may have to accept that we're just going to have to go with a word that isn't quite right, but is better than the alternative of using melee in two different places.
Yeah.
And
part of the reason that I was trying to think of something else and like was trying to like go with like engaged and all that.
Oh, Brian, thank you very much for that subscription on Streamloots.
But yeah, part of the reason I was thinking going with engaged is because like I do know that it's not as good to like deviate from that sort of thing, but also I was trying to legitimately try and think of what we could replace the skill name with beforehand, and I could not think of a good thing.
We could call it a hullabaloo.
A hullabaloo. Yes. But,
or apparently a Donnybrook. That is apparently a word.
I hate this. You know what engaged wins? Engaged makes the most sense. Because if you're engaged with someone, then that brings to it the whole set of rules in terms of like attacks of opportunity and stuff.
yeah, which is another reason that I was thinking about it. Like, I don't like deviating from melee, but we're using it twice, and using it twice is kind of just not a good thing to do. And like, look, I understand because I play like tabletop war games, and I play RTSs, both of which heavily utilize everything that isn't ranged is called melee. And I am just like, I understand the frustration with having to change it from being called melee in terms of like
Okay.
range.
Okay. I really want to avoid changing the name or the range. I really want to avoid that because I feel that's going to create so much more confusion than renaming the melee skill. I really strongly believe that's going to make more confusion. And most people are just going to default to calling it melee range anyways. Is melee ship even a word?
No. That is not a word.
I did not think so. But I will say part of this is all another thing to consider is, well, we're running into the exact same problem with the range skill. So are we going to rename range to something else as well?
I mean, I was hoping to.
No, I mean not the skill, but the, range itself.
No, I was hoping to rename the skill, because I think the skill will be easier to change than... Because, like, the only real option we have for the thing of describing how far something can go is what its range is. Like, I legitimately feel like we don't really have another option for that.
Yeah.
Because, like, the only other thing that I can really think of is maybe, like, extent. Like, the extent of it, but then that also runs into weird things, because that implies that, like, everything within, which also runs into weird things if it has, like, any sort of AoE on it. And, like, I am thinking about projectile Kenku. The only thing is that, well, marksman stuff uses projectiles.
Yeah. I know it would make them stand out, but maybe we should just go the route of melee moves, melee weapons, ranged weapons. It doesn't fit with the scheme of everything else, but... that might be our best bet. Yeah, exactly, Ren. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, the only thing I'm thinking of is just also, you know...
The only thing I'm not too fond of projectile for, like, the range skill is that, at least in my mind, that skill encompasses not only just, like...
I could do no other.
You know...
Ryan the Wolf wants that any non-named duck to be named Magna.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm not too fond of for, like, renaming the range skill to projectiles, that at least in my mind, that skill not only encompasses, projectile-based range attacks, like, a pellet shot or something like that, but it also encompasses hyper beam, flamethrower.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also, again, ranged weaponry, like, exclusively uses projectiles.
Well, I mean, it doesn't exclusively use projectiles. It could be, there could be other versions, but either way.
Well, no matter what, like, it will utilize some amount of projectile, even if it's in the form of energy.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of something here. We could it's not quite as accurate, but we could rename the melee skill to Clash.
Also, random word I was thinking of for ranged, maybe remote?
Remote was another one that I was thinking of as
Yeah.
well, yeah.
Because, like, it's not perfect, but also, you know,
Considering our options. See ya, Brian.
yep, see it.
Well, any objections on your front, Seda, for renaming range to remote and melee to Clash?
I like Clash for the melee, but I feel remote just doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't feel very intuitive.
And then I'm the opposite, where, like, remote is the best that I can think of, but I'm not too fond of Clash, because then that also implies parry. Like, parrying someone, like, in a clash.
It may imply it, but at the same time, we have a different, we have something that is specifically called parry, not...
Yeah.
So, I think that's the best one we've got. And we're not planning to use Clash in conjunction with that either. It's gonna be a parry and repose.
Yeah.
Riposta.
Riposte. Let me go ahead. Maybe instead of ranged, it's distance? Or distant? Your skill with distant moves?
We could go for that.
I mean, that's if we don't want to go with remote.
Any ideas from you guys in the chat? I think we're settling on using Clash for melee. I'm looking through all the different options we've got. I don't have anything else that we could use. Do you object to that, Tao?
I'm not the happiest with it, but I'm not gonna object to it.
Okay. I will accept this. So then we just need to rename ranged.
I'm thinking maybe distance.
Distant does sound better to me than remote. Still not quite there, but it does sound better. What do you think, Seda?
distance is better. Still think there's probably something we could do about it, but I'm drawing a blank.
I'm continuing to look through basically like everything to try and find something else that might work. Because like I also feel like it's not quite there, but also it's the best that I can think of. So I'm continuing to look through this. I don't feel like something like extended would work. Hold on. Wait, hold on. What about more in the way of like it being something that's more like, you know, thrown or the like, so something like launched, slung. What do you guys think about something more along that line as opposed to just trying to come up with a word for something in the distance?
I could go for launched. Got any other? Well, let me bring up my thesaurus and look for myself.
Yeah, that's what I was just more talking about, like, in general. I think that there's probably a better word, but like,
We just changed all the the status things to their Latin variants.
We will
It's
call
like,
it
yes,
nonplussed.
This may not be Latin, but it's like, yes, you're in proximity range. Like, oh, but English. It's like, no English.
one of my favorite things about English is that it is a Germanic language that also got like partially romanticized. So that means that we have like some very funny things, but also you can use words from either like root, and it surprisingly works. One of my favorite examples, instead of like, you know, world knowledge, you could go world ken, because ken is your ability to understand things. So you could do stuff like that, and it still works for English.
Hey, Brinda. Here we go. We'll call it with egg on one's face. Apparently, that is another way to say thrown for feeling or showing embarrassment.
There's one for verb past tense for to throw or launch something in a given direction. One of those is, dashed, projected, lofted, pegged, bunged. Bish. Context, verb. To throw or launch something in a given direction. If you bish something. That's pretty funny. One thing that I saw and thought of a bit is that projectile isn't a word that we want to use because, implies ranged weaponry, but what about just project?
I could get behind that.
What if we just cut off the ending and just go project?
Disgorge.
Disgorge, yes.
Oh, here we go. We'll call it jet.
No.
Just go with yeet and call it a day. I mean... Not a bad option.
Yes, I'm no longer gonna do pellet shot. I'm gonna do pellet yeet.
Exactly.
Always go with a different meme name and ghost. Okay, I'm not gonna say it.
I think of the options that have been tossed out, project might be our best option. Unless we just copy from, unless we just copy from Pokerroll and call it channel.
I mean, chat could actually work, because, I mean...
No. No. If we don't
respect
care...
the immediate feedback.
Yeah, the immediate
No.
just no.
No. If we don't care about... Because one thing that I was thinking of for this word is because I felt it was most likely going to be used for the magic skill. At least one of the magic ones, which is cast.
I would say no to cast, more because that is something that I will be using. Wait, what?
Bestow.
Kenku tipped $10. Help of the week. Quack. Yarn.
Thank you for the tip there, Kenku. Why has the duck game got a thing in the bottom left there saying mining cryptocurrency?
Don't know, because I can't see it.
I shall make it large. If I can figure out, we'll go this route. There.
Let's look for it to get big on my side. Oh, now we can see it. That was not there before. In
No.
the little mini screen.
Well, yeah, the mini screen's a little cut off.
Ah, okay. That would do it.
But, yeah, apparently the Duck Cave is mining cryptocurrency now.
Huh.
It is probably one of the random events, but still. I hope so for me. Either way, I'm sure it's fine. It's nothing to worry about, I'm sure. Yeah, we're going to be using the term cast a lot with the magic system, so I don't want to use that
that's
for
what I was
skill.
saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, what about?
The flamingo has been defeated. It was popped by the night. The ducks are free.
It's not quite there, but I was also thinking. I just realized that volley was a word. Forgot about that.
Hey, Pikash, yes. Volley is not bad.
Yeah, it's like it's not really quite what I want, but like,
We are slowly getting closer and closer to it just being, yeah, this is great.
Yeah, well, that's also what I'm, like, trying to do, because it's like, it doesn't, it's not quite right, but it's not bad.
We started with terrible options, and we're slowly getting closer and closer to better ones. Like Eat.
Like, yeah.
Barrage, I don't like the idea of using barrage because it very much implies a lot of attacks as opposed to just one.
Yeah, and volley does a bit too, which is why I don't like it, but...
Yeah, but it's not as... For me, volley kind of implies, one big attack kind of being lobbed over. Overhand kind of throw sort of thing. Rin, we don't need to talk about what we're going to be doing on you later. I mean, what?
True. That's why I haven't suggested discharge. I already knew what that one would do.
You would be welcome on voice, yes, Pikash. Any thoughts on these suggestions so far, Seda?
By me, I am also half awake because I'm still waiting for dinner.
Ah. Speaking of, I've got food in the cooker. I'll be right back.
Cheeseburger.
I do not have...
Look, the more we go on, I'm in favor of changing it to yeet because this is hilarious. I'm going to start eating things at the enemy.
Look, I know it's funny, but no.
I know.
Wait, hold on. Are we being dumb? Is this something that we could just call skirmish? Would we use skirmish for this?
I don't think so. Hi, Pikash.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm just like...
What was that, Seda?
That wasn't me.
No, that was me. I was just saying, yeah, but it's just also like I was thinking about it, and then it's like, you know, like we went through all of these bad options, but skirmish sounds a lot better than those, even though it's still a no.
Apparently the dart is getting doodled.
Nice.
Oh, EP.
This has been me today. I woke up, I had breakfast, I then had to take a nap.
You're getting so old. Next thing you know, you'll be applying for Social Security and going, I remember back in my day. Bridge Farm remembers. Thank you, Katatatato. Have some Chinese food. Yeah, I picked up the thermal barrier stuff to put in my windows to bounce most of the heat back out.
Maybe I should start looking at synonyms of bombard.
That could work.
I mean, yeah, but I don't like bombard because that's...
Skirmish feels like it could work.
That's what I was saying, like, but it doesn't feel right. But like,
yeah. I can't decide if I like that or volley better. Well, no, I like
volley.
it. I like it better than volley. Do we have another suggestion
Hopefully
between
that's
those two?
Hopefully that's a good shock, Rin Katatatato.
Well, I'm glad that 94-year-old you will be a millionaire, Rin.
Which will get you 3 McDonald's cheeseburgers and a Happy Meal.
I'm concerned of what's currently being drawn.
Super Seda. Da 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 da.
I have no idea what's being drawn either right now.
It is.
Oh, it is old Dart with a walker.
See, getting that Social Security already. Back in my day.
Back in my day, we called it channel.
Seda. I'm so helpful to give suggestions when there's an artist in channel. I mean, who needs to be embarrassed by total strangers when you can have friends do it for you? Just think when you're out there touching grass, we can call you Lawn Dart. Back in my day, when we threw lawn darts at each other and dodged them, that was called survival.
You need a project? I know exactly what you can do. I will message you.
Uh-oh. Polar bears in space! Which will be unseeable because, well, it's so dark. except for the bright red of the Coca-Cola bottle, just being floating in the darkness. Speaking of which, have you been fed and med and hugged my good friend Zim Zim?
He just said he'd be right back.
Oh,
good.
I'm just messaging real quick. One sec.
We did a nice country drive, and we got some Chinese food, and I picked up my insulation stuff, and it's been a good day. Dreading that massive heat wave starting Monday. Ick. Doesn't look like
Okay,
it breaks
so
until
I
Sunday.
still can't really find a better word, but I feel like there's one out there.
What are we looking for a word for?
Uh,
The action of?
okay, so instead of it being ranged, we're trying to come up with a different word for ranged. Because ranged is both an attack type and a skill. So we're coming up with a different name for the skill. And currently we got things like volley, we have things like skirmish. Distance was one originally, but it's also weird saying I have 3 distance skill. Or I have 3 in distance.
But you want to keep it a generic skill. You don't want to break into a separate skill. Like I have 3 rifle, 2 archery.
No. Also, it does not encompass using ranged weaponry. That is marksman. This is your ability to shoot off natural attacks or, used improvised weaponry. So, throwing things. So, nothing that would imply that you are using a ranged weapon, like your projectile skill, for example, because that implies also ranged weaponry.
Toss?
Toss would kind of work. However, this would also be let's say you're using, the Pokemon move Flamethrower.
Yeah, I'm throwing flame at someone. Or I'm tossing flame. Or I'm tossing a Molotov cocktail.
And this would also be things that would just be anything from a ranged, even if it doesn't originate from you in particular.
It's still tossing or taking something and moving it violently at a distance.
Doesn't have to be.
Unless we want to break it into something like yeeting.
Also, no, we're not using yeet. We already went over that.
Oh, okay.
So the reason that we didn't want to do toss is because, the rain, a ranged attack could be something that, gets originated in the distance, at the target, and there is no travel time between you and the target of what you're using, so there's nothing that's being tossed like that. Which, it's a very weird thing, but toss does not particularly work with what we want to use. So we've gone through words like project, toss, skirmish, volley.
Fling?
We've said fling, but that's literally just toss. If you toss and fling something, the only real difference is the amount of power implied.
Remote fighting?
We said remote already. That got turned down. Also, we don't use 2 words for things. It's just 1. Reach is something that is used for something else. So reach is already a keyword.
Selling?
What was that?
They
Shell.
said shelling. Which that implies Like, when I hear shelling, I think artillery.
Yeah.
Trust me, the hardest part of this is getting it past the
Tension?
Tau. He still does not
What'd you
like
say?
navigation.
No, because
Propel?
your navigatability is, like, I don't like the word because it's also your ability to drive something. It's also your ability to just ride on a horse. I do not like that term. But we don't have one that's better, so we're using it.
Launch.
Scope?
No, the scope is not one that we're going to be using on that. Because then you'd have to go, oh yeah, my scope skill. And that also doesn't really imply anything about what the skill actually uses.
Oh, I said
Neither does
extension.
project.
Well, we have already thrown out, like, you know, as in proposed project. That's one of the ones already on the table.
Right. No, I mean, project is the same as scope. It has no meaning on its own. Or rather, it has too many meanings on its own.
I mean, it has a fair amount of meanings, but the vast majority of the word project, not project, project, is it implies some sort of directional movement, and also the like moving of something to another location.
Project
Remoteness?
itself generally has only verbal connotations.
No, it also means to
Or
like,
sound.
It also has the connotation of throwing something like a projectile.
Oh,
Yes, when it
Goodman
becomes
is in waiting
projectile,
room.
it does. Oh, I got it.
Who's in? Oh, hey, Demon.
Hi, hi.
Hello.
But project does mean effectively to throw something. That is one of its popular meanings.
Yeah, as in projectile.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which we don't want to use projectile because that would imply ranged weaponry, which uses projectiles.
But the other problem with project is it has the exact same spelling as project, so very easy to misunderstand which one is intended.
Yes, which is also another thing against project.
Well, I mean, there's several verbs and other words that you could use for it, but they start getting more unwieldy.
Yes.
Propel.
Well, that's why we're
farting.
having a problem with it.
Like we're
Propel.
using a farness skill.
I know I said propel at one point, and then that got turned down for some reason, but I don't remember what
Or
it was.
catapult.
No, not catapult.
Yeah.
Amplitude.
I don't recall you suggesting propel at all. I like propel.
No, I said propel, project. It was when I was saying project or propel.
Killer.
And then we focused on project instead of projectile.
I don't remember you saying propel either. And I was here for project.
Well, it was a little bit before, but
Oh,
it
okay.
was when I was bringing up that, because they were literally next to each other on the thesaurus I was looking at. And I went propel and then project.
I like
And
how
then-
we're splitting hairs on one word, and Rozim's avatar has this look on his face like, I'm being dulled to death.
Yeah.
Well,
What about innate range?
Yep, they didn't want 2 words.
not 2 words.
Ouch. Oh, so they're really getting fussy on this one then.
Well, none of the skills use 2 words. And this is for a skill name. So, for what this skill encompasses, it's your ability to attack with your, like, you know, natural moves weapons, improvised weaponry, and things of that nature. Not
And you didn't-
like, you know, picking up a fucking rock and throwing it.
And you
I'd
didn't like
almost say
launch either.
yeet.
And no, we're not using yeet.
Like,
Launch?
Like, this has gotten proposed multiple times by actually the same people saying it multiple times. No, we're not using yeet for a skill name.
And you
Somehow
don't like
s-
launch?
Yeah, I know, right, Rdyjin? You don't fight the Tau on linguistics.
Well, I differentiate things based on the connotation and denotation, which tends to make things messy, because if you just go by connotation, connotation changes over time really quickly, and then denotation, if you just go by that, it completely ignores the implications of words societally.
well, I can't see chuck being used as the word you'd want for ranged combat.
No, we also turned out Chuck like.
I am liking propel.
Okay. Yeah. The other one that I have said a few times, and I don't know if I'm getting talked over or my mic isn't picking me up or whatever, but launch.
Yeah, I've heard launch a couple times.
Launch was
And
one
no
that
one
I
has ever
looked.
said anything about it.
Launch was one that I was looking at as well, and it's kind of the same problem as projectile, I think. Right now, I'm kind of wishing
guess,
that we
maybe.
weren't going to put in a magic system so we can just call it cast and call it done.
Yeah.
But
I mean, aren't the abilities themselves kind of magic?
Well, the thing is that Zim wants to make a magic system, and he's going to use cast a lot for the actual codified magic system. So it'd be a thing where we have a skill and a keyword, and that'd be bad. That's why we have this in the first place, where it's ranged skill, but we also have the range as a keyword, which is why we're changing it.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, from the descriptors I've heard of how it's supposed to be used, I can't think of any word that honestly fits it better than just throw.
Propulsion. And we're using my propel skill.
So, yeah, that, like, one of the reasons that one isn't as liked is just because it's very unwieldy.
I could go for propulsion. Hey, Era. But Era, we could use your help.
Eve.
I mean, I'd like project over propel.
Yeah, I'd fall the opposite way just because of the whole project versus project issue.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, like, you know, with the word as a whole.
Well, so am I. Just taking it out of context, you're gonna have it on a sheet as just that one word, right?
Yep.
Somebody's gonna look at that, and if they don't know what they're looking at, they're gonna think that's project.
I kind of have to back up a bit and just kind of have to ask the question of, if we're already playing magical creatures that have abilities to breathe fire, etc., like magic, what kind of magic system is being proposed down the road that would be different from that would require the use of the word cast?
Legitimate, like, you know, forming of magical sentences using keywords that you then use to cast spells, which would work as a different system with what Zim wants.
Yeah, but you could call cast. Oh yeah, you don't want two words, so hocus pocus wouldn't work.
Well, we're not even just talking about for the skill name, just the fact that he's going to use that as a verb of, like, you know, as a verb keyword in the magic system explanation as casting. So it's not about the skill name for magic, it's also just about the fact that it's going to be a keyword in the magic system.
Okay,
Like
I'm
how
right.
range is for the current system. The problem is that we have a keyword and a skill name, and it's the same thing, and we can't have that.
I mean, I also kind of have to ask, why are we trying to toss a magic system into this?
Because you wanted to make a magic system. It's literally, like, it's optional, and so it's supposed to be at the end of everything else, all of our core systems. However, we also, since it's going to be included as an optional thing, with an optional rule set to it, we can't put things in the main system that would conflict with it, because then that'll just cause a lot of confusion with that system.
Part of why I am putting it in, though, is without my influence, we have 2 out of the 4 games running Scar right now that have magic systems that the storytellers have decided to just throw in there haphazardly.
Well, Enja has actually designed his, and like,
Well,
I know a lot of it.
What he's given me for his design is relatively bare bones.
Yeah, this is
there's
all
potential
beta
there,
stuff.
but and either way, you know, why not?
I guess.
Well, why not is because it's an optional thing. It
Yeah.
needs to be left for last.
Yeah, and I also caution against the why not, because we do need to have a bit of focus with the development of the system. Can't just decide that we're going to make rules for, machine guns, and rocket launchers and space lasers, and we're going to have rules that for space station building. We're losing the scope in a sense of what the system is, which is creatures and other.
I mean, I will have stuff for that, but that's literally just because for ranged weaponry, which I'm designing, it's going to include keywords like, oh, hey,
why I went to space station building.
Yeah.
Like, if we start, coming up with rules for, how do we manage atmospherics, then, like, okay, we're just doing a tabletop version of Space Station 13. I'm asking the question about the magic system because, yeah, I don't want the system to get bogged down with too much feature creep when we're still trying to work on ironing out these basics.
Yeah, well,
I appreciate
the thing is that it's fine to leave it for last. We need to focus on the other stuff for now is more the point, I think. Because, if we do this stuff at the end as extra stuff, I don't see any problem with that. It's just that, core systems first.
Okay. So, one thing that I need to point out, considering we've got all 4 of the main developers here right now, I have ADHD. Focusing on one single thing is very difficult. The fact that I've been able to keep with this system as long as I have by itself is a miracle. But part of it is because I can jump from, okay, I am hitting a wall with my focus on the moves, so I'm going to jump over to working on items, or writing down some notes for magic, or whatever the case may be. I know you guys want me to focus down. I have mental health thing that prevents it, and I'm doing the best I freaking can.
Okay, well, hold on. Hold on.
Okay, you first, Talderius.
So, I get what you're trying to say, however, our point is we need to work on core systems, plural. There are other things that you can work on without going off into optional things that don't actually progress our completion of the system.
Yeah, like Zim, you had me on the first 2 points, but I see moves, items, these are core part of the system that will need to get fleshed out. Magic is that optional supplement at the end. It's error if you want to write rules for managing atmospherics because hey, we're doing a space station component of the campaign. They're supplemental, but I'm definitely of the mindset that we need to be making sure that these core rules, it's I kind of toss forward yeah, let's like maybe reconsider how we view specialties, which are pretty kind of fundamental to the system. Gotta make sure that those are all sorted out and such, and obviously like we're looking at skill names and stuff, like and the skill applications. These are important things. Kind of like we need the skills, we need the feats, we need the specialties ironed out, and then like then the items and stuff can interact better with those feats and specialties, etc., etc.
Okay.
We don't want to be building on quicksand, basically.
So, actually, ADHD moment here, but I'm pointing this out real quick. Technically, 3 of the 4 games have magic in them. Because even Starlight has had the magic wand thing put in there.
The bread wand.
Yeah, the bread wand.
I mean, it wasn't by me, but
Well, it's still...
Yeah.
3 of 4 games have magic in them, so magic is clearly something people are wanting.
Now, yes, however, on the system, it's an optional system.
Yes.
So
Another thing to point out is that I do intend to put in a martial arts system that will encompass... it'll basically be following a lot of inspiration from the Path of War from Pathfinder. But that shouldn't impact our discussion, but I just wanted noted that that is something else I intend to add as a secondary optional system. That said, back to figuring out ranged.
I have a question about this. Why are we trying to make the word more complicated than just something like throw or something of that nature?
Because throw, the thing is that the word throw, if we use that, okay, like, that would work well for things like, oh hey, I want to throw a stone, I want to throw a ball of fire, but what if you are not using a limb or some other thing in order to activate that movement, because that would be the connotation of that, or even something like,
It wouldn't really exclude that.
Remember, whatever word we use also has to be understood by the average gamer, not
Yes,
folks
exactly.
like us that are
Exactly.
able to crack a thesaurus and slice the salami and go, oh, let's take this 4th century Greek translation for basically we eat.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's what I'm
exactly.
pointing out.
You
That there
gotta-
are
you
moves
gotta
that would
keep
not
it
be
simple.
thrown that would be encompassed by this skill now, and then that's not good.
Okay, give me one.
Okay. I have one where... Okay, you know what? I have actually just straight up a move for this. Give me a second. I have to... Alright, Perfidious Shadow is a ranged move where my character does not move at all to use it. In fact, a piece of his shadow breaks off and then by itself moves across the ground and goes into the target's shadow. There is nothing there that is being thrown, however you're proposing that it would be a thrown skill move.
It's still distance.
His shadow is still being thrown into there. Not physically, but no matter what we pick, no matter what word you pick, it's not gonna, none of the words are gonna cover that move plus physically throwing something.
Well,
at least
not
no
everything
words
that
are
is
going to be
physically
understood
thrown
by
will
the
be
average
encompassed
gamer.
by this skill. I'm saying like improvised weaponry that you just like chuck out as a ranged attack would be.
The shadow is not an improvised weaponry.
No, like I said, it encompasses moves, all ranged moves, and improvised thrown weaponry.
And like I said, that you're gonna have a hell of a time finding a word that can encompass those two things if one of them is a completely non-physical thing.
Yes, which is why we are also not using words like throne and all of that. Because it does not do a good enough job representing the skill.
The thing is, there is not a word that exists that the average person is going to understand easily that does encompass them.
That is why we are looking
there has
for
to
words
be a
and trying to
compromise at
find
some
one
point.
that works the best instead of just picking one at random that we just go, good enough, instead of trying to work through it and figure out one
I get that.
works.
I get that.
Matteo, we're using cast as a keyword in a different system in the future.
Matty!
Yeah.
Oh, Matt.
Hey, Matteo. And yeah, cast is going to be part of the magic system, which is why we don't want to use it for this. I was just looking up channel, because it was like, it always felt odd to me for why they would, you know, use that in Pokerole, and, well, I mean, one of its definitions is direct toward a particular end or object.
Yeah, channeling.
I think
it
that
definitely has a lot more connotation when you're channeling a spell, where it's like, okay, I am taking this energy, I'm channeling it through to a particular point.
It
also,
does.
Oh my lord,
But go ahead.
No, I'm looking at the screen and my brain is delirious, and I'm like, why'd I open up my mouth? Because this is so silly, and I love it.
I mean, it does have more connotations towards, like, more of a sustained thing, but you're right, it does. It can also mean just the one and done type of thing.
More people! Hello, more people!
I'm only on for a bit. I can't keep up typing, though. I'm tired.
Yeah, EP happens.
If we want to go more that route, what about something like traject?
Where's the suggestion?
That's more of just a direction.
There is still a magic system planned, yes, Matteo. But not right now, which is why we don't want to use cast. And I am confused why you are so flustered there, Seda.
Do you not see what Rdyjin was doing?
Oh, with the little flower?
See.
I didn't see it in full because I've got a very haphazard mini setup and stuff.
Oh yeah, did you get your other monitors?
No. I'm working with one singular monitor right now. Oh, magical girl dart. Nice. Okay. So, what were you saying there, Era?
Oh, I said somebody in chat suggested sling. Which means to, if my brain will turn on, to throw or fling.
Yeah, but that has more ranged weaponry connotations and also doesn't fit the shadow type thing or the move type thing.
I mean, in the end, it sounds like we're going to be getting a $5 word to put something in there.
Yeah, it really is. That's the trade-off here with us digging
so
this
what are you
deep.
saying? What do you mean with $5 word?
A very fancy word that the average person would never use or think of or really understand.
Yeah, but systems do that literally all the time. Like, there's systems out there that use Medicaid.
Yeah,
What does that mean? Yeah.
Congratulations, that's my point. There's systems out there that do stuff like that.
Okay, and how
all the
popular
time.
are they? How good are they? I've never heard of a
actually
system that
very
uses
good
something
ones, not
like
even
that.
gonna lie.
I will
What is
say
it?
the
I wanna
mage.
look it up.
I will say the mage system uses Arete.
Okay, well there are some systems that make their own things special to them or use like Latin words or whatever for their own things because they couldn't find a word that fits, so they made one.
Arete is a real word.
I realize that. It is definitely not English though.
So I'm going to briefly interrupt. I'm starting to get a little bit of a headache, so I actually just need to go rest for a bit.
Okay.
How do you spell arete? I want to double check that.
You beans keep on being awesome.
Sleep well, Seda. Arete, A-R-E-T-E. It is a
Greek word?
I'm
a sharp mountain ridge, apparently. That is the definition.
It's also a concept in ancient Greek thought that refers to excellence of any kind.
Oh, I like that.
Or basically potential realized.
Yeah.
Having realized your potential.
Yeah.
Arete is the Greek version of virtue, effectively also.
Yep, I just saw that.
But the average person gaming using that system is going to look at that and go, okay, that's just a word that in this system means whatever this means. It probably is made up. I don't know.
Yeah, but they're also going to have the ability to look it up in the book.
Yeah. Most of us are going to just translate it to throw or yeet.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't try and find a
Well, that's true. We
for
can
it.
try, but I mean, just whatever we reach for, guarantee that, you know, most gamers will translate it to, I'm just yeeting a rock.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no matter... That's what I was saying. Why are you putting 5 hours of effort into finding the perfect word when it either doesn't exist or is too obscure for a gamer to even consider using?
The word does not exist. That much is for certain. We're trying to find the thing that fits best. I agree with you. We put in a lot more time on this than we probably should. But because the idea here is it's supposed to be a natural ranged attack, which, well, there is no such thing outside of like spitting or maybe shooting a spine, but those have it's such a rare thing or such a minor thing that it doesn't have an actual term like brawl.
Rin did just say that does
perfectly.
Exist. What is it?
The launching a spine and spitting, those exist, and launch is generally what would be the thing that would cover that. Or eject.
Yeah, let's not use excrete because, well...
Yeah, no, that excrete's something else. That's not... No.
Well, there's also launch, technically, too.
Yeah, that's what I said. Launch, or...
There's expel.
Eject, or... Well...
Let's
yeah,
not
I
use that
suppose
word.
you could use expel, but...
Yeah, but part of the reason we're not using that or something like discharge is for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was mentioned earlier, Matteo, but right now we're talking about the base system itself.
Yeah, this is literally core system.
Hey man, I'm discharging here. I mean, do we want to...
I mean, if we really want to do, like...
Out, or just put a placeholder and then come back to it?
Ranged is the placeholder.
Okay. Just, is there something more critical than fiddling over this word that we should be looking at versus, you know, spend the rest of the night going, find the word?
Oh my god.
Technically, yes, but I'm working on multiple things at the same time, so...
I just realized the perfect word that would cover all of the things. All of the uses for it.
Okay.
Send.
Send.
You know?
Yes.
Actually...
That literally covers every instance of natural weapons or using
Good, I can put my
moves.
thesaurus away.
Yeah. And it is also a simple word, so gamers would possibly use it.
Well, they're going to make jokes out of it, and that's fine.
They will, but they'll make jokes out of anything.
Yes. But
Come on,
I
we
do
can
kind of
joke
want to
about-
say I send that fireball to my enemy.
Yeah, exactly.
Return to sender. Return to sender.
What do you think, Tal?
Send it.
I'm thinking of any synonyms to send that has the same connotation and all that.
Hold on,
I'm not thinking of any right now.
Dispatch, transmit, convey,
And sign.
ship. We can ship it.
We could
Yeah.
ship
Yeah, we're shipping it.
Broadcast.
We're not doing shit, though.
But we could. I'm not gonna relay.
I'm FedExing this shadow over to that other person.
A lot of the words that you're using right now are more like delivering something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because that's
Convey.
what Lyphosaurus says.
Oh, okay.
Convey
I'm
is
literally
possibly
reading the story.
different.
I
than
know if we
that,
wanted
but-
to use like a really obscure word, we could use like impel.
Why are we trying? No, we're trying to avoid using obscure words.
Yeah, I know. I was.
Yeah.
Well, also, they were just throwing out things that were synonyms of delivery. So that's why I threw out something else random.
Convey is not of delivery, but yeah.
That was technically me as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
why I just
relay-
said they.
Yeah.
So that means that when I throw that fireball, I could say I'm sending my warmest regards.
There's
Matteo-
also rush.
Yeah, we definitely do not have much focus on things in general. Though I will say the whole 6 cooks in the kitchen, I mean, you look at any system and they've got at least a full page of people that work on it.
Yeah.
Oh,
You literally asked me to come in today.
Yeah.
I was going to go to bed.
Well, yeah, I wanted your assistance, and, well, I think I'm good on send.
I think I'm okay on Sun, but
And yay, send it. Ship it.
Woohoo! Yep.
I'm not seeing anything in the stores that works better other than possibly, well, there's transmit, but I don't like that, where'd it go? Relay.
Oh, by
Now
the way,
relay
Nah, I don't like relay.
has different connotations of it going through different points on its way.
Yeah.
Let's
That's
send
you
it.
can use it as a keyword later, though, so we should say that word.
Alright, we have our word. Huzzah!
now to the next word. Ah!
The next word. Let's, alright, so we need to come up with a new word for the.
Oh, I already have that ye.
Ye.
Ye is the English version of the old Germanic. That's why it says, like, ye old tavern shop. That means the old tavern shop or whatever.
Yeah.
The only reason why they ever changed it to TH is because it was easier to print than the Y.
Yep.
Yep. And also specifically because after the Thorn, they were using the Y. Like, the Thorn got, like, kind of phased out. They were using the Y for it a lot.
Why?
Because they're basically the same letter to begin with.
Why?
I don't know. Go back in time and ask the Germans.
Well, actually, a lot of the time for that, Old English, which was far more Germanic, used it. It was when it was being romanticized partially, so you'd have to ask the French.
No, I wouldn't suggest asking the French.
I'm just saying, if you want to know why, you'd have to ask the French. So, good luck with that.
But then you'd have to ask the French ye.
Remember, old New York was once New Amsterdam. There, now that everyone listen to my They Might Be Giant song.
Am I needed for anything else tonight, or am I free to go to bed?
You are free. Thank you for your help. I send you to bed.
Yes. We banish you to the Shadow Zone.
I'm a Shadow Dragon. I'm always here.
The only last thing that I'm going to send you real quick, Era, is just the numbers, because I've been playing with the numbers a fair bit. The numbers for weaponry.
Ooh, I'll poke that tomorrow. I've been wanting these.
Yeah, that's my thought on it.
Yeah, I'll poke it tomorrow. I also want to redo that one thing that I did with some of the advice you gave me back, or some of the feedback. I've just been work.
Yeah, work's been hitting me a lot, and besides that, I've just had a bunch of family shit.
Yeah. Well, today technically I didn't do work. I literally got paid to sit around and do nothing, but I was so exhausted I sat around and did nothing.
So one thing that I was thinking of, instead of saying that you just flat out can't attack with a heavy weapon again, I was thinking about having it count as 2 attacks for the purpose of multi-attack. You can attack with a heavy weapon.
I would actually be fine with that, a -10 instead of a -5 for a second swing, because at a certain point, it takes a bit to get there, but if you get there, you've probably earned it.
Yeah. Especially considering, like, you know, if you're attacking with, like, 4 accuracy dice, like, you can still do it. It's kind of hard, but, like, you know, at that point, you're rolling 14 accuracy dice normally, which is fairly significant, at least.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, I think that having it count as 2 attacks for the purpose of multi-attack is probably the best balance for it, considering on average it has about 50% more max power than a medium weapon.
I'll play with it. I'm going to add relay to the magic item sheet, by the way, because I like that word and I think we should use it.
Yep.
Activating relays.
Build more pylons.
Well, I think my job here is done, so I'm going to go back to watching anime. Bye.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Yep.
I don't know where I put that spreadsheet. Where's that spreadsheet? Do you remember what I called that spreadsheet?
I think it was like keywords.
Yes, tags and keywords. Thank you. I'm gonna add it to near the bottom. There we go. We can make something out of that, I think. At a glance, the numbers look fine. Let me play at them in the morning when I'm less. I just got done running my game too, so I'm fried.
Okay. So Zim.
Good night.
Yes. Good night.
We wanted weapon... So we wanted weapon proficiency feat cost to be like 25-ish, right?
It's 1.
All feats currently are going to be 25.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying for like the value.
Actually, was it 25?
It was 25 because that was the price for mastering a feat or a specialty. At least the last time we talked about it, it was 25.
1 sec. Yes, 25. Okay.
Shoot.
Just at a glance while I work on, like, double checking all my math for this shit. Zim and is Seda still here? No.
Seda is AFK at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just Zim, I went ahead and sent you the numbers too. When you get a chance, would you mind just taking a peek at that and letting me know what you think, like, at a glance?
Kidding.
Now, I know that this is just for power, and there's other things to consider, but this was my main concern.
Yeah, give me just a moment here.
Yep. No, I'm fine if it takes a sec, because I'm about to go grab a drink. So, you know, I'll be back in like 15, because I'm going to go make some tea. It's just for you to be able to consider it for a tiny bit.
I like those numbers. They look good.
Besides, these numbers clearly get, you know, more money out of the players when they monetize dice rolls. Yeah, yeah. We've just seen the panic from Hasbro and Ubisoft and all the rest of them as, you know, players are turning their noses down at their constant monetization. Just makes me happy. I mean, now Hasbro apparently wants to, even though they don't have really tournaments anymore, they want somehow people to check for proxies because, you know, using proxies in professional Magic, you know, cheapens and dilutes our brand.
Oh no! It's mining cryptocurrency again! The duck
What
game.
did you click?
The duck game is mining cryptocurrency. I haven't touched it in forever.
What you mean, ducko currency? Soon it'll be generating dollar bills for you. And a holla holla for them dollar bills.
Yeah, duck bills.
Duck bills, woo woo. That's their privilege, Maddie. The rest of us just have to accept that Hasbro has a bag of nothing for their marketing skills. I mean, the fact that they have an IT werewolf now as a Magic card just shows just how hard they're trying to find people with money to buy whatever they can sell. Oh, and Carrion says someone is Stimkey. Just imagine the train wreck when 6th comes out. I mean, they're talking they're not even going to make them as physical books. It'll be print on demand. You can have the power of printing these books. Yeah, great. So I can spend more money printing, collating, and trying to protect this thing printed on generic 8.5 by 11 paper, assembled at Kinko's by Bob, the underpaid intern, and hoping that the print quality is not absolute garbage, because you're only going to be allowed to print one, because those files will have a key lock of some sort on them, guaranteed. Time file, print it or lose it. because they'll treat it just like a regular book. It's like, oh, if your regular book got, destroyed or stolen or whatever, you wouldn't just magically have a second one in reserve. It'd be the same for print on demand. Just because you have the file, we'll just charge you a restocking fee of only 50% next time.
Yeah, definitely a good idea to rename melee and ranged.
I mean, heck, Hasbro's now even talking about getting out of the toy market because they just want to concentrate on games. I mean, at the rate they're going, they're just going to sell most of their IPs to everyone else, let them do all the heavy lifting, and they collect their, 50% off the top and claim they're a innovative company.
Alright, so I've updated all instances of melee in the document. Now to go do ranged. Oh, I guess it's not that much.
Thank you for using Marten Grammar Checker.
Oh, God.
Marten, get your Martins here.
I think my favorite part about Send is the fact that it is still in the same place alphabetically compared to the other ones.
I'm just sending them a gift. If the gift happens to be a fireball, so be it.
Yeah, I'll send them an umbral spike. They won't mind.
Yes, I'm just sending them a bouquet of flowers with a fireball.
And then I can send them an Azure Blast.
I mean, this is just like the jokes back in the day of Thaco. Have you Thaco'd lately? What's your Thaco?
I've never heard that.
I have not either.
Alright, I'm back.
Oh, wow.
Welcome back. I think those numbers look good.
Alright. So next, I just got to figure out...
And Maddie is still cute.
X
Yeah.
key.
Mario is cute.
Yee.
Alright, all instances, as far as I can tell, in the document referring to melee as in the skill and send as in the skill are now updated to clash and send. That was not as hard as I thought it would be.
Oh, wait, we could do more.
I will end
No.
you.
Please, no.
Half of that entire conversation of the argument was just me sitting here. Well, I guess I'll eat my food while I'm sitting here.
I just came in here to provide one suggestion, and then it was immediately turned down because it was 2 words.
Yes, we must have the sacred one word to rule them all. Hasbro.
And then I stayed for all of that.
Hello, RZ.
Rzy.
Hey, RZ.
He's a squishy friend. Look at all those VIP badges, and then my name pops up, and it's like, wah, wah, wah.
Well, they're all streamers that you should all go follow.
Just like the Maddie and Zim.
Well, I better be following Zim. I'm here.
Yeah.
I mean, someone has to, nag him about, getting fed and cuddled and getting his daily walkies and getting a scritch behind the ears and being called an evil boy.
No, not evil. It's evil.
Evil. I know, Kenku, Secret Lair. Like, who's playing casual Magic with these $300, $400, $500 Uber special art printed limited run? It smells like chocolate, whatever, shtick to flog those cards. I mean, next they'll be biodegradable. You can play them only 3 times, and then the card spontaneously combusts in your hands, and you gotta buy a new one.
You know as well as I do that if they could, they would.
Oh, I know! I mean, there's a reason why I only call them has-blown from now on. They absolutely suck. You stream quite well, RZ. You're just like a lot of us. You get shy in front of a crowd. And you're terribly self-conscious when you hear a word and you take it out of context and go, oh, that means I'm a terrible streamer and I should give up and go back to rock farming.
Prakash?
Yes.
Those are stars. They're a little bit more impressive than rocks.
Some people they're stars, some people they're rocks.
I got your back here, RZ. I got your back. Oh, I hate only having one monitor!
What the heck was that?
Yeah, it's only having one monitor.
It is constant anxiety. I feel like I am blind. I know I'm not, but when it comes to keeping track of all the different stuff that I've got going on for the stream, I feel like I am blind right now.
And an astral dragon has now joined.
Hello.
Rawr.
Rawr, 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 rawr.
Have you come to put me out of my misery?
I mean, what kind of misery would you like to be putting out of? There's 15,000 different flavors.
The only one monitor misery.
Oh.
I have one monitor too.
First, Prakash, you don't. Wait, no, Prakash doesn't stream.
Nope.
Yeah, there's a big difference when you do streaming.
Streaming. Streams and he's got one monitor.
I mean, you could just have a phone enough and have your chat on the phone and look at your phone every now and then.
I have a, I've got a Microsoft Surface that I'm using for the chat. But it's like, especially with my particular variety of streams, where I've got the artist here, I've got the dev stuff where I'm trying to, you know, this stuff would be so much easier if I had 2 different versions of this document up on 2 screens so I can reference them.
Life and struggles of Duke Duke. Duke 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 Duke.
I realize that some people stream with only 1 monitor. There's also a reason why professional streamers do not have only 1 monitor.
They're potato.
Also, Zim, I ended up sending my thoughts on the EXP potentials for whenever you feel like looking at that.
The what now?
The EXP potentials, because remember how we talked about weapons having a max EXP potential to them, depending on tier and type? Like a maximum amount that weapon could do and have on it. That way people just can't put 200 XP into a single sword and it has the base stats of God.
Fair enough.
Because, you know, you can multi-attack with the same weapon. So, like, let's say you get a sword that you max out, like a tier 2 medium sword that has 12 power on it. You can multi-attack with that 12 power sword the whole way.
Also, this kind of applies to both the intended companion system and the weapon thing Tal is working on. Would sentient weapons fall under the companion system?
Yes. And no. So first off, you've got the question of is the sentient weapon able to perform actions on its own? If yes, it's definitely under the companion system. However, it will still draw some things from the weapon system if you are like in the case of Edge, you are personally swinging Edge around to attack. So he would fall under both the companion and the weapon system. If it's just a random sword that can talk, technically sentient, but it can't do anything on its own, so it would be only under the weapon system.
So probably like a table to show people that.
Probably not a table, but yeah, a text blurb, yeah.
Yeah. By the way, part of the reason that I did the XP thing that I did on the minimum column is the exact amount to reach the max power of that type and tier.
Okay, cool.
And then XP is either 30% or either 50% or the next tier up. So, like, you know, light tier 2 to tier 3, maximum of tier 2 is 45, the minimum of tier 3 is 45. That way, it sort of acts like a, kind of like a scale. And that way, if you, like, max out a medium tier 1 sword, and then you do whatever is needed to get it to become a tier 2 sword now, like, you know, whatever upgrade shit you do, it's already at that thing, and then that way we can also go, you know, that's, you know. There's no weird overlap.
With that in mind, I think that the max XP potential should be higher. The reason being, we're gonna have traits for weapons similar to like what we have for moves. So I do want them to have the option to actually, you know, spend some stuff on them, you know?
Yeah, I also... Yeah... I might go 50% for tier 1 and then double afterwards.
Maybe 50, 100, 150%. For light, medium, heavy.
Maybe. Kinda tricky.
Now we can pet RZ, because RZ is cute.
That was adorable.
RZ is.
I am the most adorable.
RZ is a good boy.
Right. Best dragon.
Considering how many people have alts as dragons, there's going to be some hard competition for that.
Best dragon.
Like, I could say best bear because I'm a competition of 1. Well, 1.5, but I mean, you know, belly don't count.
Yeah, I know way too many dragons for declaring you as the best there, RZ.
Okay, but are they better than me? Is the best is the right question.
The bestest is dragon.
So, Zen, do we want, like, just keep up with the example, tier 2 medium sword, like a maxed out potential tier 2 medium sword to be better than a minimum realized potential tier 3?
What?
Okay, so if we do the increased amount that you wanted, that means that a well-made and cared for tier 2 sword would have a higher maximum potential than a minimum potential tier 3 sword.
Well, it wouldn't be that much more.
I mean, the difference between a max potential medium tier 2 is 120, and then the minimum for tier 3 is only 90.
Yeah, I'm looking at this.
I'm saying if we, go to the 100% and all that.
I personally think it'll be okay to allow that. But I do want them to have some wiggle room to play around with the, the actual traits for the weapons.
Yep. Also, I'm just gonna start off by just kind of doubling it. Like, just plus 100, like, double the minimum for maximum. Just to keep it, instead of it getting a bunch of really weird percentages and all that. I'm just gonna double it for a minute. So, with doubling in mind, let me just make sure I did not. I missed one. That's what it would look like with doubling in mind.
Hmm. I think I'm okay with this. So, what do you think?
I think that I need to do a little bit of math right now just to double check and make sure of a couple things. But yeah. I was thinking about it, like, damn, that's a lot of XP you can put into heavy weapons. But then again, it counts as 2 attacks for multi-attack. So it's effectively, by numbers, by the way, it's pretty much mostly for maximum power. It's plus 50% of the medium. Generally, the tier 4 just kind of does what it wants. But it starts out at plus 50, and then, like, it deviates a bit from there just to make some numbers work, but... But honestly, I feel like this is a good starting point. I'm gonna have to double check a couple things and actually write out my ideas for having it be, like, you know, weapons being made. Because obviously, like, you know, if you have weapons, you have to be able to make them. As for that, one thing that I was thinking is that basically every success you get on the crafting check for a weapon is, like, you know, 1 potential.
Repeat that?
I was thinking, like, you know, when you're doing crafting checks, because, you know, you could take multiple days to do crafting checks. Obviously set a rate on, like, how often they can do crafting checks. Because otherwise it's like, oh, I do a crafting check every hour and I have this, like, by the end of the day. But, so what I was thinking is that, every success that you get, like, has a certain amount of potential, like, would give the weapon 1 potential. And, you know, you're able to make a weapon up to, like, a certain tier. Like, because I don't think you should be able to craft tier 4 normally, just by base rules. That I feel like that should be something special. That should be like a magnum opus.
Okay.
I'm just talking about for, like, the base idea behind things.
Okay.
Like, this is not, like, a codified thing or whatever. I'm just thinking, like, you know, let's say every 8 hours you can make a crafting check. And, you know, however many successes you get on that contributes to the potential total of the weapon.
Yeah, I do have plans for working on the crafting system. Rdyjin in particular gave me some ideas, but it's going to be basically every step is going to be something major is what you're going to be able to roll with. But aside from crafting rules, we just need the weapon rules themselves.
Yeah, it's just that also it's awkward because the crafting rules feed into the weapon rules, and the weapon rules feed into the crafting rules.
I mean, my plan is more along the lines of the crafting rules are going to pull from the weapon rules, not really vice versa. Like, as far as how, like, the crafting system is going to determine what the best, thank you. What the best kind of weapon you can craft is. It doesn't really, it's not going to be a matter of, oh yes, you are a craftsman, so therefore you get to wield this better than somebody else.
No, I wasn't saying that. I was saying that the systems are, like, you know, intrinsically linked, and so they will affect each other.
I'm not sure I see how, but at least as far as, like, numbers and such go. I'm not following what you're getting at.
Alright, I'll just put that aside for now, then.
I just know I need weapon rules so I can get to work on stuff involving weapons. Oh, the ducks.
Quack.
Quack. We really need
RC duck?
We need to duckify the RZ and the Tau.
Nah.
Changing to duck.
Quack.
Quack. Projected simulations show everyone as duck in 1 week.
Nah.
Alright, getting to work here.
But those numbers that I sent you like a little bit ago that you looked at, those numbers look good to you, right?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, let's go ahead and roll with those numbers for now, at least. I'll work on costing out various things like weapon traits and the like. But, I do not have coffee, and I am getting busy.
You should,
Alright, sleep well, Tau. So are those the only numbers that I need then, or? Because I don't see a tier 4 there.
You don't see a tier 4 where?
Oh wait, never mind. I was looking at light, medium, and heavy, and I'm like, right, never mind, carry on.
No, yeah, no, it's type and then tier. There's gonna be, like, other details you'll need, but, like, that's going to be the numbers. We'll roll with those numbers and then adjust them after testing, because from what I did of my math, this is working out really well. And I think that this will be very... With these numbers, it's very comparable to how the move system works. With this, the way that the move system works, it is currently fairly comparable. It's not exact, but that's also because I don't know about you, but I really, 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 really don't want to do 8 different tiers of weapons. Or 10. Sorry, it'd have to be 10 different tiers of weapons. And,
Adorable red panda detected.
I don't know about you, Zim, but I don't feel like doing 10 different tiers of weapons.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I'm good with it being... I'm good with it being sometimes moves are better, sometimes weapons are better at different stages of the game, but yeah, no, I think this is what we're rolling with pretty much in terms of numbers.
Yeah.
Because if we want it to be truly 100% even the entire way, there has to be 10 tiers of weapons, and no. In Shouldergung, I only have a tier 6 medium weapon. How am I supposed to stand up and compete with my friend who has 2 tier 8 light weapons? Yeah, no, we're not doing that.
Hi, Matteo.
Hello.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and go off now.
Well, bye.
Bye-bye. Just go with those numbers.
You know, I would love to, but that's going to require working with one monitor when I need 2 for this. They might have to wait. But hopefully Monday I will have another monitor. Also, Rex left my bedroom light on.
Is that a bad thing?
Well, apparently somebody shut the cat into my room.
Oh, okay, so it is a bad thing.
Well, I mean, leaving a light on is a bad thing because that wastes electricity. And wasting electricity means wasted money.
What's wasting money?
Well, you see, not all of us have an infinite amount of money that we can just throw willy-nilly at, you know, everything.
Yeah.
Yes, Ren. I am hopeful for it. Also, chat, I need you guys to go over to Rex's stream and yell at him for leaving the kitchen and my bedroom light on, please.
You could walk over to... Never mind, I guess.
Well, yes, I could, but it'd be more funny to do it through a stream chat.
My brother in Christ, you live in the same house.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking. Unfortunately...
There, I have started the charge. Everybody go over there.
What? Oh.
And I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Oh, I see Maddie's now in chat. Hello, Maddie.
Hello.
Yes, we have gained a cutie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And a cyber duck.
There is, or at least was, a cyberduck.
And the insulation stuff does fit in my window, so that'll be a nice help. Nice, shiny, reflective, heat bouncing.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-ba.
Dragon singing.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da-ba.
And followed by dragon sharing their hoard.
Ba-da-ba-dum.
What?
I need to go. Crazy.
What?
Why are you going crazy?
Why that pause?
Because I'm silly.
Ah, I see. You needn't go crazy, I'm already intimidated.
Good.
Please, don't take my furniture this time.
That would make a good adventure for once the dragon hires a bunch of adventurers to get rid of the other adventurers that are trying to invade its lair.
Dugan's binding. Oh no. I hate that spell. It that heralds the end. Oh no. I'd never heard of that
Yeah.
spell.
The end of knowing. Do you know when you might?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Oh, I was just going to ask if Razim knew when his other monitors might be available.
Well, I've got Ren who shipped me off a new monitor. Thank you again for that, Ren. That should be here Monday or Tuesday. As for the original monitors, I will be shipping those off today. Or no, it's not after midnight yet. So tomorrow, Saturday. And they're probably going to be in repair limbo for about a month. Would be my guess,
yes.
if I'm lucky.
So do they both suffer the same failure at once?
No, one failed earlier this week, and it just went black. No idea what happened with it. The other one, yesterday I was streaming, and I started seeing these lines flashing across the screen. I was like, what the heck is going on? And then it started flashing black, and then it would come back, and then it would go black again, and then back, and black, black, and black, and it got more and more rapid until now, then it was just stuck black.
Sounds like they both have suffered an overheat.
I have no idea. Definitely should not be an overheat, but I don't know.
We're talking today's electronics, and unfortunately they're being assembled by the cheapest possible factory in the middle of nowhere by workers who really don't want to be doing the work.
Sounds like you could use a, shit. Wait a minute, hold on. I had a segue.
Sounds like you could be using a shit.
Sorry, let me try that again. Sounds like you could use a a repair shop owned by a member of your own community.
It's not like... Wait, you have one, don't you?
No, but I'm starting one.
Heck with Maddie.
I mean, I definitely take advantage of that, except it's, you know, it's still covered under warranty.
Ah, shit,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah, let them eat it.
Damn.
And in this day and age of not repairable anything, sadly, it does become more cost-effective to buy a replacement, which is exactly what you want you to do. I mean, look at Maytag.
Oh! Project BFD. Unlock the big jelly? So that's how they kept getting bigger. These are apparently jellies, and I guess they merge and become bigger.
Operation Big Freaking Duck.
Sounds like something from Hasbin Hotel or Hell of a Boss. Like, what if a duck, but with fire, made of jelly, that could merge with other ducks? It's like, Dad, you're a little focused on ducks here.
Big duck energy. Yeah, you're right. I see you, Rdyjin.
Big ducking. Big ducking. Absorbing all the smaller, slower ducks. Just like a real jelly in a dungeon.
Yeah.
Only duck-shaped. So you look at that one adventurer who always goes, "Oh, it's so cute," and everyone going, "It's a trap, it's a sucker monster," the DM snickering, "Don't touch it." I mean, especially if they start cracking one of the more obscure books, like the Fiend Folio, and giggling. It's like, ah, we're getting boned. GM goes off into the room, summons that player, they disappear for a couple minutes, they come back, the player's got a smile on their face, and it's like, yeah.
Nothing.
I guess
totally
I
nothing
can't.
happened.
I guess I can't name the big fucking duck.
It probably gets named when it absorbs one of its smaller brethren.
Oh, I named all of its smaller brethren the same thing, but I didn't change its name.
What, food group?
Oh, apparently there's an Egyptian one.
Hey, you can call, since they are jelly, you can call it petroleum.
I can't name it.
Oh, well, when you can.
I cannot.
God, D-Spark thematically makes no fucking sense.
Its name is forever elusive.
What that?
Elusive.
Elusive?
Elusive.
Aduxive.
And I don't know how your housing situation is, but if you are looking for a cheap, easy solution for blocking your windows, I will heartily recommend this stuff.
Hardly. As in only when pressed?
I think he said heartily.
Heartily.
Oh, maybe. My apologies.
Oh, no worries. It's O Dark 100. We're all kind of in the bag. I'm just looking at these temperature spikes for next week and going, it's like, yeah, it's 15 now, and they're talking about 42 for at least 3 days, and it's like, no.
That's Celsius, right?
Yes.
God, love that for us.
So yeah, 107, 108, 110.
Oh yeah, I remember there was a heat wave a couple years back over where I am, and it got, I think the highest I saw it got to was 115.
Yeah. Canada's just not made for these silly temperatures. I mean, yeah, that's humidex, but that's killer heat.
Yeah, and I'm not even in a desert area.
Yeah, as Rdyjin's down there laughing in Texas heat at all of you.
Yeah.
Rdyjin, do you currently have a working AC?
I think considering it's Texas's, do you have a working power?
Oh God, yeah, you're
God.
I know I lived in Utah for a while where they did not have we did not have AC, and oh God, it was horrible.
Yeah, I don't have AC, which is why I'm doing the thermal barrier for my windows.
But you live in Canada.
Yes.
Oh no, Ren's joining in the laugh.
Does that make the temperature more bearable?
It's not as high as it is elsewhere.
Oh, that's true.
You know what, Ren?
But that said, you are probably, you know, you're adapted for the temperatures that you have there. Just as they're adapted for Texas and Phoenix and such.
Yes, which is why I'm a polar bear. It's like, you know, we normally have winter here. Normally.
Also, bot in chat.
Yeah, be gone, bot.
Your bot.
I was hoping one of my moderators would deal with it. Usually they're good about it. But, and I'd go take care of it, but, well, now I'm gonna have to, because... But it's a pain right now with this freaking lack of monitor.
Yeah, I know that
nonsense.
feeling there, Rin. Just why I've got 36 ice cream sandwiches in the freezer, 72 of those giant jumbo pop, whatever things they called, and lots of cola. Windows will be thermal sealed. I've got the little dehumidifier to try and suck some of the humidity out of the air. And thankfully it's a moron one. All you do is open the thing, pour in the beads, and close it, let it suck up water for another month.
I will definitely say, living in a dry heat is far better than living in a humid heat.
Yeah, that's the problem. If it was 32 and felt like 32, it'd be okay. But if it's 32 and feels more like 42, it's like you can't cool down. You just literally cook yourself.
Oh yeah. Florida during the summer, if you've been there.
Not Florida, but I used to go visit my dad in North Carolina every summer. Yeah, they get some serious humidity there. And it's like, in dry heat, you could at least go take a shower and cool off. Not in humidity, because then you get out of the shower and you're immediately coated in slime again from the air and immediately overheating again.
Yep, that's why I got the dehumidifier. Made for RVs, trailers, garages, and other things. It's just a plastic cage that holds the pellets that suck the moisture up and then turn it into a saltish goop that falls on the bottom of the tray.
I mean, Rin, 130 Fahrenheit, it is different if it's dry or wet. Because humidity adds more heat to the air. The actual temperature is 100, maybe 130, but it feels like this because of the humidity. You know, hotter. The answer is violence. Fair enough, Kieran. Can't argue there. We shall administer drastic violence to the Weasel, for he has not joined voice.
Joke.
Teleporting Weasel.
Send Weasel.
Oh yes, yes, it definitely will, Rin. Definitely.
This is a competition. Who is faster? Who is trickier?
Yeah, he's doing the same to me. Okay, I'm coming to help you. Are you sure? Good. And now you yes. Oh, but
Yeah, what the fuck did that caption say?
What, in the Marten video?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, I saw that too, and I was like, yeah.
Well, yeah. They, so they tried repairing that couch, and, it turned out looking sus. So their chat, you know, their viewers and such decided that it was that, and they went with it. Yeah, Ren, why aren't you in voice yet? It's like you don't want to hang out with us.
We must add more ducks.
Oh hey, Renzel Washington. Get in here.
Help us turn more people into duck.
Ah, funny, but I'm immune.
They try all they want.
Apparently I've been ducked.
No, it hasn't been finished yet, but it will be.
That's what I said apparently, until it's out there, it's apparent. Hey Renzel. Teasel Weasel.
Oh god, it's mining cryptocurrency again! It's at 27%! 28%! All is lost!
You cannot escape ducko currency.
There's some great crypto bros stories out there about how silly they are when it comes to the real world.
Apparently, Rdyjin says, I wish I could judge Zim on knowing so much about individual Martens and their owners, but not gonna lie, I know a lot about red pandas in random zoos in Japan. And have learned an eerie amount of kanji just following along with the lives of some red pandas.
Yes, exactly, Rdyjin. Exactly. But it's like with some animals, like the Martens in particular, it's like there's only so much information about them that you can find out there. There seriously is a lack of it because not many people know about Martens. At least not for those that, you know, make big documentaries or whatnot. Unlike other animals, like the kangaroo, that has a whole movie dedicated to them, and, you know, red pandas are pretty well known as well.
Yeah, but at least, you know, Martens can be considered house pets, whereas the one guy who raises wolverines, it's like, there's him, and that's it in the world.
Well,
and granted, wolverines are horrible as pets.
I will definitely say Martens make terrible pets. Absolutely horrible. You have a Marten in your house, things are going to be absolutely destroyed. It is a wild animal. They are not domesticated at all.
Yep.
But they do make wonderful family members.
Yes, and apparently ferrets, when the female has her kits, you must immediately show great praise towards them. Otherwise, well, she kills them. I mean, you understand the instinct of why she's doing it, but it's still like, well, it's one of those facts that all owners better know before they get one.
Oh yeah,
Rdyjin.
Rdyjin.
Movies too.
Yeah, right. Red pandas definitely have. They're still very unknown, though. At the same time, they do have things like the. Was it Just Red? I think that was the name of the movie. The Where Red Panda girl and yeah.
Yeah.
Going Red.
Is it going? Either way, you guys know the
It's
movie
going
I'm
red.
talking about. Red pandas have that going for them. And that alone boosts up the knowledge of pandas.
I just laughed that they said it in Toronto of all places. Like, wow, they actually chose a real place and they did research on it. Like, okay. Turning red. There we go. Like, don't upset Mama. Why? She turns into a red panda. Oh, but red pandas are cute and small and... you haven't seen Mama.
Rdyjin, regardless of the anatomical design being done properly, the important thing is just getting the name and general likeness out there. Because that
how many
generates...
movies are there?
That generates interest. It generates more knowledge being done about them and such.
I also appreciate that they didn't, you know, make them as much like their cousin Tanukis as they could have. That would have been awkward and probably not PG-13.
Well, I mean, considering only the women apparently get this power, I mean, we don't have to worry about one particular trait of the Tanuki.
Tell that to the hyenas.
Getting drunk.
Oh, I'm glad you got that one. I was afraid no one would.
Oh, I know exactly what you're referring to.
Boy. Yeah, that was my first zinger of the night.
Uh-oh.
Who joined?
Oh, timing.
Joining me. Chompa! I'm Chomp Chomp.
Heyo. I just got done wrapping up the showcases and stuff. Thought I'd jump in here while we wait to do Guild Wars 2.
Alright, well, thank you everybody for joining so far on the stream tonight. That was DevTales as well as an Art Marten stream. We're gonna do some Guild Wars.
Oh.
What?
I just caught Matteo saying bye, I think.
No, he said, oh.
No, before that.
Oh, the Teasel Weasel is gently asking to come into VC.
Yes, friend, you may. But yeah, thank you so much for joining, though. I really do appreciate it, everybody. I hope to see you all back here again. Oh, well, I mean, we're going to keep going right now, but, you know. Check out our website, zgfgaming.com. We've got links for our Discord, Telegram, Mastodon, Blue Sky, Patreon, and more. There on the website, as well as down in the description below through our link tree. Thank you to my patrons, tippers, and subscribers. It is your support that keeps this channel alive and going. I cannot do this without your guys' help and support, so thank you. Consider becoming a patron over at patreon.com/zgfgaming. It's one of the best ways to support the channel, though you can also do so by sharing the stream around, as well as coming by, hanging out, grabbing packs of cards to stream loots, or picking up some merch over at zgfgaming.store. And of course, don't forget to go check out all the wonderful beans that also stream that came by tonight. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see all of their links down in the description below. But to name a couple, we got, you know, Mario Rasu, as well as there's Arzadeyu and Seda BDA and Talderius. And at this point, I basically named them all, but you know. There was also Rin the Katato. But yeah, thanks so much for joining, and I bid you all the most fondest to Duke.
Duke?
The end.